Hi, welcome to Your Black World News. I'm your host, Roosevelt Mitchell III. A group of white men showed up last night in Ferguson with assault rifles, camouflage gear on, and bulletproof vests. They call themselves the Oath Keepers, and they consist of former military personnel and former policemen, and they have a pledge to defend the Constitution against all of its enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, why do they think that the protesters in Ferguson are enemies, or why did they show up in Ferguson with a pledge like this? I have no idea. But Missouri law states that if a person has a concealed to carry permit, then they can openly display their firearm as long as it's not in the threatening or angry manner. With that being said, let's put this group in context, because according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, it describes this group as anti-government. The founder of the group refers to Hillary Clinton as Hitlery, and earlier this year he stated that Senator John McCain should be, and I quote, hung by the neck until dead. And this is what one of the members had to say last night when they were interviewed.
Just to make sure that they're left alone.
I mean, if you're armed, why can't the protesters be armed?
That's sufficient. I am.
You should come out here and
hey,
black
sir.
people.
I'm in here in Missouri, yes.
But sir, if you armed, why can't the protesters be armed? I mean, doesn't the Second Amendment apply to them too?
They were. There was a group of brothers were protecting buildings last go around, and they were left alone, whereas we were set upon.
What about protecting black people?
DOJ said that we were
Who set upon you?
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement did.
Whether it was the highway patrol or it was all under the instigation of the Department of Justice.
Let me ask you this: what do you think about? You talked about your opinion on Black Lives Matter. What do you think about our mulatto president, as you described him? What is your feeling on our mulatto president?
We could get into issues about his biographer and his wife and he himself before he attained to that office, talking about having been born in Kenya. So all of a sudden that's no longer an issue, and the Democrats and Republicans all went along with it. You know, he's a very intelligent man.
Do you think he's a secret Muslim?
You know, I understand from blow-ups of the ring that he wears, it appears to be some type of Muslim ring.
You realize he's bombed 14 Muslim countries, but
you know, what can you say?
What can you say?
What can you say?
And could you say specifically, what are you?
And I have one simple question: why didn't the police just tell this group to go home? Tell this group to leave? It was 2 blocks full of police. They didn't need this group's help. They could have just said, hey, we've arrested over 100 people already in Ferguson. We have enough officers. We don't need outside help. And this group has an oath or even has a pledge to defend the Constitution, foreign or domestic. Jump your ass on the plane and go over there and help us fight Vladimir Putin. That's what we need help with. We don't need your help in Ferguson, Missouri. And could you imagine if Minister Louis Farrakhan showed up with a bunch of brothers from the Nation of Islam dressed in all black, bulletproof vest on and assault rifles in hand? Could you imagine how that would have ended? Could you imagine on every front page of the newspaper what the headlines would have read? Because it would have been different. But with this group, the police said nothing to this group. Nothing to this group. And that's what baffles me about it. Because we don't need them there when it's majority African American and already in a hostile situation. Then you bring an outside group who aren't police, aren't the feds, aren't affiliated, and they just show up with guns and think they can police something. Now, where do they do that at? So that's the last thing we need, is this group showing up, then another group showing up, and then it becomes the Wild Wild West, when we are trying to come with peace and trying to make Ferguson a peaceful place and heal and move forward. Until next time, my friend, be blessed and be encouraged.